Creepiest psychological tricks advertisers use on you. Number 13. The decoy effect. Imagine you're at the cinema, craving popcorn. You see a small size for $3 and a large for $7. Pretty straightforward, right? Most of us would probably just grab the small or maybe splurge on the large if we're feeling fancy. But what if there was also a medium popcorn priced at $6.50? Suddenly, that large for $7 looks like an absolute steal. Your brain, usually so good at math when it comes to taxes or splitting a dinner bill, suddenly becomes a bargain hunting zombie. This isn't just about popcorn, it's the decoy effect in action. A sneaky psychological trick advertisers use to nudge you towards their most profitable option. They introduce a third, less attractive choice, the decoy, that makes a more expensive option seem incredibly appealing by comparison. The medium popcorn wasn't really there to be sold, it was there to make the large look like a massive discount, even though it's still expensive popcorn. It's like setting up a dating profile with a picture of you next to someone objectively less attractive just to make yourself look better. Suddenly, your seemingly normal looking face becomes a supermodel in comparison. Your brain, bless its overthinking heart, gets so caught up in comparing the decoy to the target, it completely forgets to consider the actual value of the item. You're not buying popcorn, you're buying the feeling of getting a deal, even if that deal is on a bucket of overpriced kernels. Number 12. Anchoring bias. You walk into a car dealership ready to haggle. The salesperson throws out a price for your dream car, $50,000. Your immediate gut reaction isn't to think about the car's actual worth, but to instinctively anchor to that $50,000. Now, even if you manage to negotiate them down to $45,000, you feel like you've won a huge victory. You just saved $5,000, but did you? This is the anchoring bias, and it's a masterclass in psychological manipulation. Advertisers, salespeople, even your kids when they want a new toy, all use this. They throw out a high number first, establishing an anchor in your mind. Every subsequent offer, even if it's still high, feels like a discount because it's being compared to that initial inflated figure. Your brain grabs onto that first number like a life raft in a stormy sea, and everything else is judged against it. It's why was $100, now $50 works so brilliantly, even if the item was never really worth $100, Advertisers in the first place. Your brain doesn't care about the true value, it only cares about the perceived discount from the anchor. Essentially, they're setting the bar so high that when you jump over a slightly lower one, you still feel like an Olympian. Number 11. Scarcity and urgency. Ever seen those online ads screaming, limited stock, only 3 left, or sale ends tonight, don't miss out? Your heart probably does a little frantic skip, doesn't it? That sudden urge to buy now before it's gone forever is pure, unadulterated scarcity and urgency bias at play. Advertisers know your brain has a deep-seated fear of missing out. FOMO, for the acronym enthusiasts among us. When something is presented as scarce or time-limited, your brain assigns it a higher value. It's no longer just a product, it's a fleeting opportunity, a prize that could slip through your fingers if you hesitate. This isn't just about physical products. Think about exclusive memberships, early bird tickets, or even social media stories that vanish after 24 hours. The perceived rarity makes it more desirable, even if you didn't really need it 5 minutes ago. Your brain shifts from logical consideration to panic mode, convinced that if you don't act now, you'll regret it. It's the same psychological lever that makes people hoard toilet paper during a pandemic, even if they have enough to last a lifetime. Essentially, advertisers are whispering, run, don't walk, or you'll be left out. And your primal brain responds, must acquire shiny thing before it vanishes into the abyss. Number 10. Social proof. You're scrolling through an online store looking for a new gadget. Suddenly, you see a product with thousands of 5-star reviews and a little badge saying, bestseller. Instantly, your brain does a little happy dance, convinced this must be a quality item. Why? Because everybody else thinks so. This, my friends, is the power of social proof, one of the most insidious psychological tricks in an advertiser's arsenal. We, as humans, are inherently social creatures, programmed to look to others for cues on how to behave, what to believe, and what to buy. If a product has a million likes, rave testimonials, or is endorsed by an influencer who looks vaguely like they know what they're doing, your brain short-circuits its critical thinking. It assumes if so many people like it, it must be good. This explains why long queues outside a restaurant make it seem more appealing, or why a crowded nightclub feels more exciting. Advertisers leverage this by showcasing popularity, whether it's through star ratings, follow accounts, celebrity endorsements, or people who bought this also bought our suggestions. They're essentially telling you, don't worry, thousands of lemmings went over this cliff, so it's perfectly safe for you too. Your brain, ever eager to fit in and avoid potential mistakes, happily follows the herd, often right into their sales funnel. Number 9. The endowment effect. Ever noticed how that old, slightly battered coffee mug you got for free suddenly feels incredibly valuable the moment it's yours? Or how selling something you own, even if it's junk, feels like a monumental loss? That's the endowment effect playing tricks on your mind. Advertisers love this one because it taps into our irrational attachment to things we possess. Once you own something, even if you just think you own it, like during a free trial, your brain instantly inflates its value. We demand a higher price to sell something we own than we would be willing to pay to acquire it in the first place. This is why companies offer 30-day free trials or test drives. They know that once you've had a product in your hands, once you've integrated it even temporarily into your life, the mere thought of giving it up feels like a loss, and humans are notoriously loss-averse. Your brain isn't thinking, do I need this subscription? It's thinking, do I want to lose access to all these shows? It's the same reason why, after just a few days with a new puppy, you'd never dream of returning it, even if it chewed up your favorite shoes. Essentially, your brain says, mine, my precious, and suddenly that perfectly average item becomes a priceless treasure. Number 8. Confirmation bias. You've just bought the latest, greatest smartphone. Now every tech review you read, every ad you see seems to confirm that you made the absolute best decision. You conveniently ignore any negative reviews or articles about its flaws. This isn't a coincidence, it's the insidious work of confirmation bias. Once you've formed an opinion or made a decision, your brain actively seeks out, interprets, and remembers information that confirms what you already believe, while conveniently filtering out anything that contradicts it. Advertisers exploit this by planting the initial seed, say a catchy slogan or an aspirational image, knowing that once you're leaning their way, your own brain will do the heavy lifting of convincing you. They don't need to work as hard to change your mind if they can simply reinforce what you're already inclined to believe. This is why political echo chambers are so powerful, and why people stubbornly stick to their favorite brands even when objective evidence suggests alternatives might be better. Your brain isn't looking for the truth, it's looking for proof that it was right all along. It's like having a personal cheerleading squad inside your head, constantly shouting, "You're smart, your choices are genius." Number 7. Loss aversion. Imagine you're offered a gamble, a 50% chance to win $100 or a 50% chance to lose $100. Logically, those two scenarios should feel equally weighted, right? But for most of us, the pain of losing $100 feels far more intense than the pleasure of winning $100. This is loss aversion, a fundamental psychological principle that dictates our tendency to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. Advertisers exploit this mercilessly. Think about insurance companies. They don't sell you peace of mind, they sell you the avoidance of catastrophic financial loss. Anti-aging creams promise to prevent wrinkles, not just give you youthful skin. Fitness apps warn you about losing your progress if you skip a workout. They frame their message around what you stand to lose by not buying their product or service, rather than what you gain by having it. Your brain is hardwired to protect what it already has, even if it's just a hypothetical state of being. It's why we cling to bad investments, or why free returns are such a powerful incentive. It mitigates the perceived risk of losing money on a purchase. Basically, your nervous system is throwing a tantrum in your honor, terrified of letting go of anything, even potential gains. Number 6. The von Restorff effect. Isolation effect. You're scrolling through a bland, text-heavy website. Suddenly, one word jumps out at you, highlighted in bright red and bolded. Your eyes are drawn to it instantly. This isn't magic, it's the von Restorff effect, also known as the isolation effect. Our brains are wired to notice things that stand out, that are different from their surroundings. When multiple similar objects are presented, the one that differs from the rest is more likely to be remembered. Advertisers use this trick constantly, whether it's through a unique font, a splash of contrasting color, a surprising sound, or an unusual image. Think about a car commercial where one car is a vibrant, impossible color in a sea of monochrome, or a pricing page where the premium option is ridiculously oversized and glows. This effect taps into our brain's novelty-seeking circuits. We get bored easily, and anything that breaks the pattern, that zigs when everything else zags, grabs our attention and sticks in our memory. It's why that one truly bizarre commercial from your childhood is still imprinted on your brain, while 100 generic ones have vanished. Your brain just loves a rebel, especially when it comes to visual stimuli. Number 5. Mere exposure effect. Ever found yourself humming a jingle from a commercial you absolutely hate? Or suddenly feeling a strange sense of comfort with a brand you know nothing about, simply because you keep seeing its logo everywhere? Welcome to the subtle but powerful world of the mere exposure effect, also known as the familiarity principle. This psychological phenomenon states that the more you're exposed to something, a word, an image, a person, a brand name, the more you tend to like it, even if you're not consciously aware of the repeated exposure. Advertisers leverage this by ensuring their logos, slogans, and products are ubiquitous. They don't necessarily need to bombard you with compelling reasons to buy. Sometimes, just being present in your environment, popping up on billboards, social media, or TV screens is enough. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, interprets familiarity as safety, trustworthiness, and even preference. It's why political candidates who spend the most on advertising often win, not necessarily because their message is superior, but because their faces and names become ingrained in our subconscious. It's like that annoying song on the radio that you initially despise, but after the 10th listen, you find yourself tapping your foot. Your brain just says, hey, I've seen this before, so it must be okay. Number 4, the bandwagon effect. Think back to the last time you saw a product advertised as #1 seller or loved by millions. Did it make you more inclined to buy it? Probably. This is the bandwagon effect in full swing, a close cousin to social proof, but with a focus on trends and popularity. It's the psychological phenomenon where people do something primarily because others are doing it, regardless of their own beliefs or the evidence. Advertisers know that humans are inherently herd animals, we fear being left out, and we crave validation that our choices are correct. So, when a product or service is presented as popular, everyone else is using it, or it's the latest trend, your brain is powerfully nudged to jump on board. It's the modern equivalent of everyone running in one direction, so you just instinctively follow, assuming they know where they're going. This is why influencers are so effective. They create a perception of a desirable trend that everyone wants to be a part of. Your brain, eager to be part of the cool crowd and avoid potential regret, decides that if everyone else is doing it, it must be the right thing to do. So, you end up buying that weird gadget or trying that strange diet, not because you truly researched it, but because everyone else is. Number 3, halo effect. You see an advertisement featuring a stunningly attractive person beaming while holding a cup of coffee. Instantly, your brain doesn't just think attractive person, it makes a leap. Attractive person equals good coffee. This, my friends, is the halo effect, a cognitive bias where our overall impression of a person, company, brand, or product influences our feelings and thoughts about that entity's character or properties. Advertisers wield this like a psychological scalpel. They associate their product with something inherently positive, whether it's a celebrity, beautiful scenery, luxury items, or even just aspirational lifestyles, hoping that positive halo will rub off on what they're selling. If you perceive a brand as innovative, you might also automatically assume their customer service is great, even with no evidence. If a spokesperson is trustworthy, their words about the product instantly gain credibility. It's why perfume ads often feature ethereal, almost mythological figures, or why high-end car commercials show the vehicle parked in front of a majestic mansion. Your brain, in its eagerness to simplify, takes one positive attribute and paints an entire picture with it, often overlooking details that don't fit the pretty narrative. Essentially, they're hoping if one thing looks good, you'll just assume everything else connected to it is equally stellar. Number 2, foot in the door technique. You're asked to sign a petition for a cause you mildly support. It takes 2 seconds. A week later, the same organization asks you to volunteer an hour of your time. Then, a month later, they ask for a small donation. You're more likely to agree to each subsequent request than if they had just asked for the donation up front. This is the insidious brilliance of the foot in the door technique. It's a compliance strategy where a small initial request is made, which is easy to agree to. Once that small commitment is made, a larger, related request is made, and because people want to appear consistent in their behavior and attitudes, they are more likely to comply with the second, bigger request. Advertisers use this by getting you to make tiny, low-stakes commitments first. Think about free trials that require your credit card info, signing up for a newsletter, or even just watching an entire ad. Once you've taken that tiny step, your brain creates a subtle sense of obligation and consistency. It's harder to say no to the next slightly larger ask because you've already said yes once. It's like a tiny psychological slippery slope. They just need to get one toe in the door, and soon enough, your whole wallet is walking in. Number 1. Priming. You walk into a supermarket and soft classical music is playing. Unbeknownst to you, this subtle auditory cue is making you more likely to buy expensive wines. Or maybe you just saw an ad for a refreshing soda, and now even though you didn't consciously process the brand, you suddenly feel thirsty. This, my friends, is the granddaddy of subtle manipulation, priming. It's a phenomenon where exposure to one stimulus influences a response to a subsequent stimulus, without conscious guidance or intention. Advertisers are masters of priming. They don't just sell you a product, they set the stage for your brain to want that product. This can be visual, showing images of happy families before an insurance ad, auditory, playing upbeat music to associate with energy drinks, or even semantic, using words like freedom or power to link to a new car. The brilliance of priming lies in its stealth. You're not being told what to think. Your brain is being subtly nudged in a particular direction. Imagine seeing a picture of a smiling baby right before an advertisement for a new savings account. Your brain, primed with feelings of warmth and protection, might unconsciously associate those positive emotions with the financial product. Or consider how the smell of fresh-baked cookies in a real estate open house can make a house feel more homey and desirable. It's not about logical persuasion, it's about influencing your subconscious associations. They're planting tiny, imperceptible seeds in your mind, and by the time you consciously make a choice, the harvest has already begun. Your brain, in its constant quest for efficiency, takes these subtle cues and builds a narrative, often without you even realizing you're being led. It's like your brain is a highly suggestible detective, and advertisers are leaving it perfectly placed clues to reach the right conclusion. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.